Hey, so I've been in Puerto Rico for a week now, and I figured it was time to do a video update. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because the videos that I'm going to do out here are going to be pretty raw. There won't be a whole lot of editing. I won't have my beautiful studio lighting that I've set up back home, and I'm not going to have my big fancy camera either. So don't expect a whole lot, but hopefully the videos are good enough to get my message across. I'm in my room. It's pretty funny because just a few minutes ago, the electricity went off. Just as I got ready to press play on the camera to press record, all of a sudden, all the power goes out and I'm sitting in a pitch black room. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So hopefully the power stays on long enough for me to get all this out. So I got here a week ago, and it's been very interesting. Like I said, the power was off all day. We were on generators at the hotel I'm staying at, but it came back on, and so far, so good. Besides the occasional blink out, for the most part, we have electricity. It's pretty crazy because most of the island still, shockingly, like they have electricity, but not like in any sense that they're used to, and it's very sporadic. Like today I went to a store, and on going one way there were no traffic lights, and then coming back there were traffic lights. So from what I understand, that happens, and like they'll just lose whole grids of power. So I just wanted to actually tell the story of why I did not end up working for the first group that I was planning on working with. I came out here with the intention of working with several different church groups on several different projects. The first group that I ended up meeting up with, it didn't go well at all. So I'm trying to figure out how to put this in a way. I'll tell you what, it's probably going to end up offending some people. Someone's probably going to end up, being butthurt and messaging me, but whatever. It's my truth, and it's the way I feel the need to tell it. So, first of all, the group, I didn't really know too much about them. That's my own fault. The person who introduced me or set me up with the group did an amazing job. She's awesome, and it's not on her at all that it didn't go according to plan. She came with them back in for Thanksgiving, worked with them for a week. Apparently they did a lot of really amazing things. This time around wasn't as productive in my opinion. So we first of all, when we all met up with this group, I found out right away that they were all from America, all Southern Baptists, and extremely devout. And they said a lot of little things that, I'm like literally the most tolerant person in the world when it comes to religion and spirituality and all that. So with that being said, nothing they said ever really bothered me. There were things that concerned me, like when they say, oh, well, we've come here to give these people love. And some people think that love comes in the form of medication or supplies, but the real love that we're here to bring is the love of Jesus Christ. And I was like, okay, all right, so maybe he works in mysterious ways, maybe he'll work through us, I get that, and that's not a problem. So it was kind of crazy because the first day we had, Saturday night, we had our meeting. They explained that everything we will be doing will be under the control of the local pastor, like the Southern Baptist pastor. He's in charge of everything, and that different churches had different areas zoned off that were our areas, so we can't cross into other areas and just help people at random, that it's all very well organized is what he said, and that we basically have to do everything that this local pastor said. So I'm like, I don't see a problem with that. It's good to have organization or a leader or whatnot. So that was Saturday night. So then Sunday we get up and go to church, because their big thing is that the best thing we can do for someone is save their soul. And I didn't like something that someone said, and one of the leaders had actually said about how when people are down, when they've lost everything, that's the time to try and, to save their soul or to bring them to Jesus. It felt, I don't know. It felt almost manipulative in a way to me. I guess I know this is gonna irritate some people, but I get it. But it's just like when you come to someone who is at the lowest point in their life, and basically he said something to the effect of when people are doing well and they're prosperous, you can't convince them to come to Christ because they feel like their way is the best. But once their whole world has been destroyed, that's the time to convince them basically that they've been doing it wrong. So it seemed like maybe there was a little bit too much ulterior motive with what we were doing. So, but again, I'm just rolling with the punches. That's fine. So the Sunday we go to church. All right. So we all split up, go to different churches because that's the way we're going to connect with the community. So Sunday was pretty much a waste of a day in my opinion but that's fine because in Puerto Rico, the locals aren't doing any work on Sunday. So how can we like do anything either? So that's fine. So then Monday came, and Monday they said, all right, so you are going to be working for the local pastor. And they split us into 3 different groups. One group went into the hills to go minister to people and try and bring souls to Christ. Another group went to pressure wash a street. And I was thinking, the streets in my own neighborhood need to be pressure washed, but whatever. But our group, we got the great honor of going straight to the pastor's house. So, yeah, so we go to the pastor's house. He's in a very affluent neighborhood. Big house on top of a hill. Not a big house, but he had a nice house. You could tell this area wasn't really hurt by the hurricanes. Way up on top of a hill. They had power, they had water, they had all that. His backyard was very beautiful. But at the back of his backyard was a big drop-off. And behind that drop-off was this huge field. Now, this field had been neglected for years. Now, I'm talking about, it was pretty obvious that he had been going to the back of his yard and throwing trash from his yard into this big field. And the field was completely overrun with all sorts of just different vegetation, weeds, and just more. This trash was bad, and there was old furniture. This yard had clearly been neglected for years. So here we are. We're under the pastor's, under his jurisdiction. And he says, all right, the first task I need for you all to do is to clean all the trash out of this field. Okay, fine. So we spend a while taking all this furniture to the curb, filling bag after bag of trash. Now this stuff had been so mildewed by rain, and it was pretty gross. But we took all that trash out, but then all of a sudden he's like, all right, I need you all to pull all these weeds and then cut down these trees. And he was like, there's this big dead tree. It was like full of termites. I mean, like, this thing was just crawling with termites. He's like, all right, I need you to cut this down in different chunks, take all of this down to the bottom of the hill, toss it over the fence into the ravine. He just gives this big long, and we broke our backs. I mean, like, we literally spent about 5 or 6 hours doing yard work and pulling the weeds and all this. And then he's like, okay, now I need you to take everything you all tossed over the fence and take it down. And it was just layer after layer after layer of work. I mean, my back was killing me. We were all dripping sweat. It was exhausting. And so then they said, yeah. What?
Hey, Lucky, is your AC on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on.
Alright.
Alright. So, they were just checking to see if my air conditioner was on. I lost my train of thought now. So, anyway, the point is, we're doing all this work, and it was a long day. We're breaking our backs, killing ourselves doing all this work. And, I wasn't happy. And I actually had turned to one of the guys and I said, he's like, oh, we need to cut down this tree here. And I was like, to what end? That's what I asked him. I was like, to what end? Like, why? What's the point? Like, why are we doing that? And he says, well, at the end of the day, it will make the pastor happy. And if there's anything I can do to make him happy, I'm happy to do it. And I said, okay, fair enough. I just wanted to know what was his motivation for breaking his back. So we spent that whole day there, and it was a lot of work. The point is, at the end, we all went back, and we're dragging. Like, you could tell, we were exhausted. It was a beating. And, the guy in charge tells us that, I know a lot of you feel like doing all that yard work was for nothing. It didn't accomplish anything. But it does take a stress off of the pastor's life. And by removing that stress, he'll be able to write better sermons, which will allow him to save more souls. So by cleaning his yard, we are going to help save souls. And I was a little irritated by that, to say the least. But what made it worse was that we weren't done. The next day, which was going to be Tuesday, we were supposed to go back to the pastor's house because there was still a lot more weeds that needed to be pulled. He wanted his yard basically pristine, and this old rusted fence, which had completely rusted out and fallen over, he wanted us to resurrect and re-put up the fence around the back of his property. And that was it. I was done. And I'm not a quitter, but I'm out. Like, the way I saw it, and as I packed my bags to leave, one of the leaders asked me, why I was leaving, and I told him straight up. And he said, I'll be honest with you, because of the holiday, there really isn't much to do. So instead of having you all just basically sit around, I thought we would do that. That way you had something to do. And I'm just like, I don't need busy work. I came here to help with the hurricane relief effort. Either I can break my back to clean a pastor's yard and not help with the hurricane relief effort, or I can go sit on a beach and not help with the hurricane relief effort. Either way, I wasn't going to be helping. And so I refused to not be helping by cleaning somebody's yard so that he can later save more souls because he has less stress in his life because now his yard looks beautiful. No. So I did leave that group, packed my bag. The next day, they're not a bad group. The next day, they actually went out to the community and I've been following their progress through my friends that are still there. The next day, they went out and they gave toys to children and then ministered to them. Then the next day, they went to the beach because that was their day off. And then the next day, they dressed in costumes for Three Kings Day and went out and ministered to people. So I get it. That's their thing. That's their mission. More power to them. I wish them well, but that's not for me. That was not what I came to do. So I didn't come to sit on the beach either, though. So I actually, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I will be moving on. I'm actually meeting with another group tomorrow that feeds the homeless. And since the hurricane, there has been an increase in the homeless issues and people who need feeding. So apparently I'll be getting up bright and early tomorrow, going to a home where we'll be preparing food, and then they serve lunch every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the next week to make meals with them, feed the homeless every day. And I feel like that's a great way for me to get in contact with people, reach out to people, hear their stories, really learn what's going on out here. And then I'm going to be moving on. Maybe Haiti, maybe Dominican Republic. I'm not sure. I still haven't nailed everything down. Obviously, I'll try and keep you all updated. I won't really be on Facebook too much and for about another week. But after that, of course, you'll get more frequent updates. In the meantime, I'm moving around the island, and it's great. I've been having a good time. I'm sure a lot of my friends saw that I met the mayor of San Juan, who is absolutely awesome. I saw her. She was actually... The crazy thing about it is that when I saw her, she was surrounded by police, and they were having this big thing downtown, or in Old San Juan. And she goes, and I was like, oh, I want to take a picture with her. But my friends had no idea who she was. I was like, come here, come take this picture of me with the mayor. And they were like, who's the mayor? I'm like, that woman. They're like, the mayor's a woman? I'm like, but they are... In their defense, one guy was from Saudi Arabia and one was from New Zealand. They haven't been following the whole Puerto Rico flooding thing. So she actually got on a bus, okay? And I was like, oh, I missed a chance to actually talk to her. And so then a woman who had overheard, or who basically saw and overheard the whole thing, was like, "Just don't worry, I'll go get her." And then she goes and like yells for the mayor to get off the bus. So Carmen Cruz comes off the bus. She's like, "Who wants to meet me?" And I was like, "I do." So she stands there and we have a full conversation. Like, she was so awesome. We made a bunch of jokes about. We talked about Trump, and I talked about her. Her whole Twitter battle with him and the things that he said. And then I made a joke about her glasses being iconic now, and she was like, "Oh, I got them for $19.99 at Walgreens." And my friends were all joking because she was wearing like tennis shoes, and she's just so cool and down to earth. So, but I'm just like, hey, if you're gonna hang out in San Juan, you might as well hang out with the mayor. So that was just my luck doing its thing. Sometimes I just gotta go with the flow and let my luck do its thing and see where it takes me. So, tomorrow's a new day, and like I said, I will actually be taking a lot of pictures so that people know that I'm out here doing what I came to do, and I'm looking forward to sharing that experience with you. And let me know if you have any requests, anything you want for me to check out while I'm out here, anything you'd like for me to photograph. I'll probably be in Puerto Rico at least another week or two before moving on. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. Talk to you later.